wasn't prepped, but who cares? Okay. The stream is on. I'm poor, but I'm happy. I'm rich, but I'm broke. The good Lord, He knows why. I'm just a cowpoke. I like that song. Has to do with this episode because he says I'm poor, but I'm happy. I'm rich, but I'm broke. It's interesting how biblically Rosh, it means impoverished and disenfranchised, yet it's where we get the word rich, because it's all over the Bible, but in Revelation is what people probably remember off the top of their head, and that is, you are poor, yet you are rich. That's the whole point of Rosh. Even though you are the underprivileged and you are the disenfranchised, which causes bitterness and venom, figuratively, you're rich. You understand? Like it's interesting. So this episode is called Trump, Putin, Rosh, Shin, Ta. And the truth is stranger than fiction. Alright. Actually, no more music. That's all. I just had that little tune stuck in my head. But I didn't want to try to sing it because kind of high. I don't know what I would sound like. That's why I hummed it while playing it. It probably sounded a lot nicer than if I attempted something else. So, this is not scripted, except for this mess of things on a paper. This is what happens when you try to put the fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional things on a piece of paper. They're just all over the place. And you guys can pause it and try to figure things out before I talk about it. It doesn't matter. It's already out there. It's on it's at the tip of your fingers. There's Obama phones. Homeless people can find this out and be better, more educated, more spiritually powerful than you, and they're homeless because they got an Obama phone. But Obama just gave it to him because he's like, oh, if I give these people some smartphones, they'll worship me. It's like Darius, in the Bible, when they got him to use his pride and say, have an edict 30 days, everybody has to worship or direct prayers only to you, and anybody directing prayers to anybody else other than you for 30 days will be cast in the lion's den. And he's like, pray to me for 30 days. See, what he doesn't understand is prayer means ask. It's like you want the whole nation to be asking from you for 30 days? That's weird. They just fooled him like, oh, I could be kind of like a god. And he goes, it's not tyrannical. It's only 30 days. So they got in his head. And, it's what's ironic is that is what triggered everything to happen. If they didn't do that, they would have been better off. See, their evil spirit causes them to stumble. Okay, so let me just, I don't even know where to start. You know what he starts off with? Ma. You guys can watch the other streams. You will get what I'm saying. It's from the movie Rango. The first one here, ma, what? So, what do you think's in your consciousness first when you're born? Everything is what, who, what's that like? That's literally ma. What is our first word usually? Ma. It's not because of our mom, it's because of our genetic language. Our first language just comes out of babies. Out of the mouth of babes, Most High is reserved praise. You understand? Who knows what's going on with that? Because there's languages that can't even be understood. And then what does your ma tell you when you say ma and when you make noises when you're a baby? She says, what? What? Or, look who it is. Who is it? She's literally saying what ma means. They're both saying ma to each other in different ways. It's really weird. But it's weird in an amazing way. Where it's like, wow, this is crazy. So let me just start, because I don't know what direction I'm going. I just know that I have a bunch of stuff on a piece of paper, and I have this power at my fingertips, my digits, 5 digits. Oh yeah, by the way, why do you think you have 5 digits on your hand plus four of them? You have 2 hands and 2 feet, and they all have 5 digits on them. And they say there's 4 corners of the earth in the Bible. 4 corners of the earth. You have 5 digits. The 5th dimension is ruler over all, except God. God rules over the 5th dimensional being, which is Messiah. And he wants us to bring out the Messiah in us, because Messiah existed before he was in an incarnate body. He was the Word. He worked through people. And then when it came to a Rosh, like literally a beginning of something else, a point, a beginning, because there's a beginning of things all the time, good or bad. So that's why this word Rosh is like this. So I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. Let me put up the ma real quick here. Always comes down to this. That's why I put Daga manahu in the description. It's just funny because most people aren't gonna know what the heck I'm referring to. So mana literally means whatchamacallit. They didn't know what to call it. It was 4th dimensional. It's 5th dimensional because it's able to come down from heaven and manifest in a 3rd dimension. That's a 5th dimensional being. See, some of these things you gotta take and then connect things yourself, because I got a lot of things to cover. So, but yeah, just ma, me. That's how you warm up. Really, when you're a baby, it's all about you and your mom, me and ma. Okay, you can just, oh man. I don't know what. I just wrote these randomly, so I'll just go from top to bottom and see how that works out. So I have on the top here, ma, ta, or meteor. Ma, what, who, or as if, like. Ta, over here. Mark, scribble, border, bruise. Or, I think has to do with light. I'm pretty sure. That's why ore that you take out of the earth, when you smelt it, it's shiny, or light. So I'm pretty sure ore has to do with light. But so you literally have what is like a scribble or a mark or a border of light, as if it's marking with light. Can't make this stuff up. I actually want to start. I don't know where I'm going to start. I just had to go from the top down. So I have your Teth. Let's see the Teth here. I mean, this is the most interesting thing I think in the world. I can't get enough of this. It's constantly blowing my mind all day. This is why when Ezekiel saw all five dimensions revealed to him through Messiah, that's what the whole spaceship, some people try to call it a spaceship, the whole thing, uh, that's what it's describing. He saw the fifth dimension. He was after David. David grasped it, and through that spirit, some of these prophets I think were even related to David's line. Um, Now he's in exile, even in Babylon. He's able to see the all five dimensions perceived. So remember, your mind is perceiving whatever the higher dimensions are. You view them through your perception of reality. All right. So when you're looking at a fourth or fifth dimensional thing, your mind is trying to apply things to it. The more you look at it, or the more it reveals itself to you, it'll have its true form. So why Ezekiel saw it that way is he saw it from first, second, third, fourth, fifth dimension. He saw like darkness brewing. That's first dimension. Second was, I think, the sound. I think he heard a sound. And more light and color, red and fire. And then it started materializing this third dimension, and he started seeing creatures. Remember, he is seeing the data that the creatures and who is seated on the throne of this thing, presumably Messiah, because you can't actually see God and nobody has seen God. So this is Messiah seated here, and it calls it the glory of God. And see, Messiah gives all glory to God. That's part of the glory of God, is producing people who have that mentality to give all glory to God, no matter how high God actually lifts them up. Your self-perception has to lower as God brings you up, or rather expands you out in authority or anything. So Teth, what? Oh, I also oh, I won't say this too early. This might go into a part two. I wonder. All right, so Teth here, like tetherball. It says it's a bit of a mystery. Oh, really? Because tetherball means exactly what this word means. They derive it from TWH, spin, and renders teth to not together, twist into each other, to interweave. The letter teth indeed looks like a little vortex or a spiral. So this thing, it looks like it's almost like a spiral, spiraling. And so tetherball. So that's why they say vortex, because it's going around, but then as it gets to the middle, it's going faster, then locks up, and it's got you in a knot. So this isn't a coincidence. The origin's a bit of a mystery. It's like whatever you say. So teth as vortex, spin, knot, twist, interweave. I thought teth lamed, Tesla, teth lamed. Lamed, as we went over in previous episodes here, gotta go down actually. That's funny. Teth actually comes before Lamed. So Teth Lamed, it's to learn or teach, but it's where you get Talmud, which is where you get Talmud, and it means scholar. So literally, Teth La would be the vortex scholar, or to throw scholars into a vortex. It kind of describes stuff that Nikola Tesla did, but it also describes negatively things of Elon Musk, which Elon means oak or strong. strong like a oak. Maybe even strong. No, never mind. Yeah, like strong like oak or strong oak. And mush is to drive along. You could put the K in there. Depending on what it is, it can mean a lot of things. It can mean destruction. But yeah, you could. I made. Oh, is it? It's all the way over there. Anyway, maybe if this is a part two, I'll show it. But I have a old CD holder that I use to put the whole alphabet in, so I can literally just open it at any time and Hebraize anything in a simple way. But then I want to. There's like two slots left that are extra. I want to put different roots in there that I feel are most important that I can fit in there. And I can hear it in my headphones, but if you guys can hear that bird outside or any rain, I don't think it's raining right now. No, but it might start raining. It might start thundering or whatever. Just as long as the power stays on, that'll be nice. Okay, so literally tether the scholars. Tesla. What happened to Tesla? Nikola um literally the eternal conqueror. Nick and Olam and tethering the scholars. So there is some deception with the Nikola Tesla stuff. So they try to prop him up too much. Who knows where this stuff really came from? They're never going to tell you. It was probably somebody like me, except had experience in something, started noticing patterns, was like, if I just take these patterns and apply them to technology, I can just invent something. And then they did. And then the wicked found it. And usually these people are poor. They're the Rosh. And so they'll sell the patent or they'll sell whatever. And they won't, then maybe they'll think they're lied to and they think it's going to help people. And maybe it helps some people. But, so there's so many things here. And remember, I'm going to try to get all these things and post them after because I don't actually have all this set up on the computer. It's in my memory already, so I just say it. But I'll try to get all the links that are associated with all the notes on here and put it on the Telegram after. Okay. So next here, Teth Vortex. So I related this Teth to Thoth, which is the Egyptian idol of thought, mind. So Thoth is actually a vortex. Possibly a vortex for scholars is implied. But King Tut, if anybody knows who King Tut is, it's Tut uncommon. It's Thoth incarnate. So it's the vortex incarnate. So if you know the history, Akhenaten, which I'm not going to try to attempt to Hebraize that, but it probably means something. Achen is to trouble. Aten, maybe it's like to trouble or bring attention. I don't know. But Akhenaten, this guy wanted to be a monotheist. He saw God not as the sun, but as the energy in the sun. But it's not just the sun; it's all life. So maybe he saw the sun as a portal, because the sun and moon are fourth dimensional things, and our perception has a lot to do with it, because depending on where you're standing from other people, if someone's 2 miles away, your perception of the sun is very strange. These things are fourth dimensional, and we're able to see it only because it's piercing into the third dimension. It's meant to do that. That's its job. So the sunlight doesn't even spread like a modern scientist would think light spreads. I can even show the chart. Let me show the chart here. No, not that one. So you see those two dark blue lines there? The sun and moon's light, I would theorize, doesn't go above or technically within this purplish dark blue area, or just purplish blue area. So it only shines down in those two triangle type shapes there. That's where the light actually is. The top triangle shape doesn't have the light in there. At least that's how I viewed it. So take what you will with that. So King Tut, so Akhenaten, he was essentially trying to bring monotheism to Egypt. And the people probably would have listened to whatever he said. It's the priesthood who is going to lose the power. And so they made a coup with this Tutankhamun. And see, Akhenaten also didn't want to control the Hittites. The Hittites are literally the terror and dread of Mars, one of the moons of Mars. The other moon is the Amalekites, panic and fear, because they're the messengers, they're the lapdogs. Literally in Hebrew, Amalekites lapdogs, which might mean they're related. So it gets into the brother of Egypt, Putin, Hamites. I told you there are light skin and dark skin and brown skin Hamites. The kid that they're claiming did the thing in Pennsylvania, he's got a Hamite nose. He's a white Hamite. That's what they don't. They lie to you and want you to think that that light skinned people and dark skinned people are totally different. It's like, no, they're not. There's literally Hamitic people who are white, brown, and black. Black, light, brown, and dark. But anyway, so Teth, so they installed. He wanted to be monotheistic, and he didn't want to start any wars. He just wanted Egypt to be its borders. He didn't want Egypt to control the entire world and do its thing. See, he was finding, how God would have a ruler work. But the priesthood didn't like him, and the people must have not have cared enough, and God allowed him to be deposed. And so that's why you hear in these kind of circles, they like to glorify Tutankhamun because he did this. They see it as a win against monotheism and against Shemitic thought. Okay. Pun intended, thought. So they see thought as a vortex, which, however true that is, I don't know. These things might be truths that they had in the beginning, and the Hebrew language is just showing you it. But I mean, spin, twist, interweave kind of sounds like a good thing, but it just seems too confusing. So it makes sense that the Egyptian view of thought is a vortex, is something that doesn't have balance or control. But being multidimensional, that could have been the original thought here, is that your mind is multidimensional, and that's what they meant by spin, vortex, interweave. Like a tether, it can go in all the way to the first dimension or out all the way to the fifth. So this could be actually exposing a true original thought in Egyptian heritage. And that might be why Pharaoh and Abraham originally got along, but then somewhere down the road, because Pharaoh is literally Pet Ra, The house of Pharaoh is Pero, which is the great house. Pet Ra is the mouth, and then Ra is to compartmentalize. But I'll get into that later, actually. Or maybe right now, because I say it's right here, Rameses. It's Ramses. Maybe I should get into it. Let me look at the chat. I forgot to pull that up. Nobody home. I don't know if anybody ever played that game, but if you know the music, you know what I'm talking about. Where am I gonna put this chat? I mean, it's an empty chat. I am gonna look at it. I'll wait 10 minutes, see if there's something in there. Okay. Tesla, we went through that. Teth-Lamed, Vortex, for the scholars. Yeah, I'll go through Rameses, I guess. And Amorica. Ra. Let me pull up Ra. Maybe Rhea, I think. No, there's Mo. So look at this. A homeless person can do this if he has an Obama phone. There's a website called Abarim, Abarim Publications. And they literally have the meanings and the roots connected to all these names. So let's see. Rhea, I think, is what I'm looking for. Reba McIntyre. See all these people. There's Rosh. Is it Ryu? Oh no, it's Ryu. Ryu or Rhea. What just happened? Wait a minute. There we go. And then you go down here. There we go. So let's go over Rameses. And then you can do this. Oops. One second here. Where's M at? Rameses. I wanna just do this live. Mishma Moses. All right. Drawn from the water, extracted or alone, hidden or covered. And I want to go through that throughout this is the whole point of creation and life is that the Most High invested something. And all the parables and everything in the Bible has to do with like international trade and theological and intellectual discussion, stuff like that. Openness, transparency, and all that. So at the end, the Most High wants something out of what he put in. And if you have nothing to show or less than nothing, it's going to be really bad. And there's like animal documentaries you can watch, just the behavior of animals. There's animals who go through things that we go through. And like it's really weird. Like animals in the wild will fulfill their destiny more than like 60% of Americans. And I'm basing that off of 50 to 60 Americans being obese. As long as that's their state, they're not actually fulfilling their destiny. And there's animals out there doing it. This is why animals even exist. The Most High does not need animals. He doesn't need us either. But out of love, he created us. Why? He invested something and he wants to see a return. That's all. And so animals are there as like a baseline. It's like, look, animals defend their children. Animals imprint and teach their children what they need, or their offspring, what they need to keep going. And the best way to see this is just to watch these documentaries. Preferably the ones where they're just actually doing a documentary and it's not too like Disney or something, because Disney's done some of those too, and it's like it seems like they manipulate they manipulate the environment more. It's one of them Disney like ones. But anyway, extract a loan, Muso, to hide or cover. So literally his name has to do with all these things, and these guys have all kinds of opinions on everything and evolution and stuff. So they're always like, oh, here at Aberrim Publications, we think it's like, oh, jeez. So just give me the freaking, there it is. NASA, Maset, Masa. Okay, here we go. That's funny that it even has to do with NASA. So NASA and Zion and Moses have to do with the same word, coincidentally. Anyway, let's see here. Mush. So Mush, Ra Mises. So let's just do right off the top here. Ra can mean evil. So evil, to draw out the evil in people. So Egypt was basically, or at least the peak of Ramses and everything afterwards, Egypt is America and Americanism, because this Ramesses, this Ramses the first and Ramses the second, they have to do with everything America does. So Ramesses basically describes a system, the head of a system, how he operates. This system is a system that works good enough to produce enough. Just like Americanism, it's capitalism, basically. And so, that's weird. I said capitalism. It's 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Anyway, and everybody worshipped the system, but it wasn't pure. That's why you even have Israel there for 400 years. Why they have to be extracted out. It describes a multitude of things. But this name, Ramesses, is going to describe a man, a leader who embodies what America does, and how Egypt, Rome, the Holy Roman Empire, the British Empire, and the American Empire all operate based on Ramesses. Oh, Justinian's Code. Yeah. Justinian's Code is what Ramses wipes his butt with, literally. It's not, they just don't want you to know origins. So it's like, why do Roman noses look like that? Why they look just like Egyptian noses? Who went around breaking off the noses off of these statues? What are they hiding? They're trying to hide the Egyptian nose because it tells you that Egypt was in the whole world. That's why there's Mexican and indigenous people in the Americas that have Egyptian noses. But anyway, they don't want you to know this stuff. What was I getting at? So let me go over Ramesses, and you'll know that it's that it is Americanism. So let me go over here. So Ra can mean evil. So they draw out the evil in people. The system of capitalism draws out the evil in people. That's why they make machines to replace slaves. It's like, no, you're going to make more slaves out of the machines, actually. Those people weren't even what we think are... I'm not going to go over that. Okay. So meaning evil. It's opposite of Tob, meaning good. That's why like a good guy, like a kind of dorky good guy in a movie, a lot of them are named Toby. But anyway. Or like good dogs, they name their dog Toby. Okay, let's see. Ra is made by God to be not made to be a part of a perfect world. It's just that you know that God has willed everything to happen the way it is and given us a little space to make decisions, but ultimately the whole design and will is not in our power. So evil is something, it actually means not moral evil. It means like disaster. So it brings the disaster out of people because they will only care about themselves, and they'll want to make money for themselves and for their company, even if it uh, destroys people. Ra. And Ra has to do with the setting sun, and the setting sun has to do with when you die. So Ra isn't the sun, it's the setting sun. It's an ideology. They worship death. That's why it's the setting sun, not the rising sun. That's why, in biblical terms, God's way is likened to the rising sun, not the setting, not the Ra. Can't make this stuff up. So it's used to describe badness of quality, sadness, distress, or calamity, and injury. All these things you're gonna, um, all these things you're gonna experience in America. Ugly cows is what Pharaoh saw in his dream. That's not a coincidence. Uh, let's see, do bad or evil. So Aramaic rasas means to crush or break in pieces. So that's where you get racist from. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity, the color of your skin, nothing. It has to do with breaking in pieces, fracturing, dividing brothers. If I had a genetic brother or somebody who had the same genetic background as me, I could still be rasas against him. You understand? A rasast is a crusher or a breaker. Buffalo Soldier. Let's see. Like Viva la Raza, Viva la Rising Up. It's like no, Viva the fracturing. It's a that Raza thing is literally Rasas. It's put in there to fracture and break you, and break society, break unity, break brotherhood. So racism is part of the Egyptian, Roman. I mean, come on, you just got to read history. It's ridiculous. Um, Opposite of shalom. You understand? Jerusalem, and they had the Hebrews building Rameses. Do you understand? It's so blatant. Ra is used about 8 times in the meaning of literal breaking something. Egypt is Mitzrayim. It means siege workers. Double siege workers, actually. Ra means to pasture, graze, or tend. So this is telling you how Ramses, how Egypt ran. They turned people into livestock. They viewed them that way, and that's what America is worldwide. That's what the British Empire was. That's what the Roman Empire and quote Holy Roman Empire, set apart Roman Empire. You gotta understand what these words mean. Just like Roman Catholic Church actually just means Roman Universal Church. They just try to tell you it means anybody who believes in Christ. It's like, okay. Ra is active participle meaning he who shepherds. Okay, what are the pharaohs pictured with? They're pictured with the crook. Interesting, because somebody with the last name Crook just did something. A crook is what you grab a sheep with. It's shaped in a way where you can, it's a stick, it's a staff, but it has a crook on it, so you can reach out and put it over a lamb's neck or a goat's neck and pull it back to you and then grab it. All right? He who shepherds, but he is the false shepherd. That's why he's missing his eye, one or other of his eye, the eye of Ra or the eye of Horus. You understand? Oh, yin and yang. There's literally a word. What was it? Ayin. Ayin is eye or fountain. So a yin and yang is your bad eye and your good eye. And because it's in China, the ends of both those are like pointy. Anyway, this is a joke. Rei meaning pasture. Mira meaning pasture or pastures. That's funny, that dinosaur movie. If anybody remembers that dinosaur movie from like 2000, I think it was year 2000. some of these movies came out that had a different spirit on them. They were more accurate. There's different movies that have that. Like Rango was one of them. The animation was really strange. There's other ones. What was the other one that was like that? Ants. The movie Ants with the Z. Ant Z. Just weird. So that dinosaur movie was like that too. And the girl's name was Mira. That's Mirage. Why is it pasturage, but it's a mirage? Because it's not paradise. Do you understand? Land of the free, home of the brave. I don't really see that. Merit meaning pasturing. What's your merit? What kind of cattle are you? Are you sophisticated enough for us to use you? How can we use you? Merit. Isn't that funny? Merit has to do with pasturing animals. Well, you can pasture people too, but that's not what these guys mean. Ra means to associate with or be a friend. So basically, that's how Egypt controls all the other nations. They're an associate to all of them, and their culture and their system controls all of them because they get them to worship it. It's in Revelation with the Scarlet What of Babylon. She what is it? She gets all the kings of the earth drunk off of the passion of her fornication and her, wild sacrifices and all that stuff. So that's the same thing here, is that's why Jeremiah, whether he did it physically or whether messengers were sent by Jeremiah to all the kings, I don't know, or he made them drink of a cup and said all nations have to drink it, and if they refuse to drink, then you give them this word. I think this is similar, where Egypt did that in a bad way, and Jeremiah was saying, all you nations know about us and what we have. If you deny it right now, you're all going to be destroyed. Friend or associate, neighbor. Won't you be, please won't you be my neighbor? But it's not the neighbor of scriptures. It's a different neighbor. It's just, that's the fish in the tank next to me, basically. Maria meaning friend. Yeah, they always just pretend to be the friend. Oh, we just want to bring democracy to Iraq. I just watched Shock and Awe today. That's actually a good movie, despite it still propping up certain, what I believe are false narratives. It's very interesting because these things have happened in the past. People have done true journalism on it. And every time it gets exposed less, because afterwards people will come in and do something to those people. And so it's getting less and less each time. And they know that nobody, like literally 2019 to 2022 just taught all these people who think they have control that, like, what is it, 4 billion people or 3 billion people are willing to give up themselves and their children to something ridiculous. So then all of a sudden, right after that, all these people start getting killed in Ukraine, and all these women and children are getting killed in Gaza. It's like, and they're just testing it. And literally, I just figured out last night, I think it was, I was talking to somebody and I figured this out. Joseph means to add. May he add. And Biden is like a play on words, like biding your time. And Kamala Harris, Kamala is literally Gimel, camel. She represents international trade. Joe Biden represents adding time, biding time so that certain international trade can go through. That's the Belt on Road Initiative. You can't make this up. The president and vice president of the United States, literally, their names represent biding time for international trade. And Harris, I'm sure, probably has something to do with it too, but I don't have the time to look that up. And it sounds like harass, but anyway. like harass somebody. See, I always go shh because I'm Semitic. It's not a speech impediment. The language is a speech. English is a speech impediment. Jeez. Anyway, I bet you if you did a study, English would probably have the most stuttering out of all languages, except maybe like Turkish or something. I'm not gonna get into the Turkish thing, but basically, Ashkenaz runs the house of Saud, and they call themselves people who wear tiny hats. Look this stuff up. That's why they look like Ishmael, because Ishmael and Isaac were brothers. Anyway, and Esau and Jacob are brothers. Who did Ishmael and Esau become? So they're going to look similar to Jacob, but they're not. They're Turkish, and they're the king of the Middle East. Okay, Rhea meaning female companion. That's where you get the queen of Egypt being Taphanes, which is the beginning of the age, or the beginning of creation as we know it, because the wife, and it means the wife of the king. So the wife of, in Egyptian, the wife of Pharaoh, they saw as the queen of heaven. She was the source of all creation. They didn't give glory to God. So female companion, it looks good when the president has a wife. It doesn't look good when the president's single. See what? But in Hebrew, ta pen nosh, or ta pena nosh, would be the mark or the signature of the brazen serpent, or the mark or the signature of the face of the brazen serpent. So it's telling you the Egyptian priests told the people that our religion, our rituals we're doing for you and that you're giving money to and for, it's worshiping Taphanes, which is the beginning of the ages or all creation as we know it. So they probably claimed they worshiped nature. But in reality, what they were teaching the people, the Hebrew exposes it as the mark or insignia of the mouth of the brazen serpent or the face of the brazen serpent. So anyway. And it has to do with a snake. They'll even admit it has to do with a snake. They just won't go as far as I'm going and complete it for you. They have to make it presented to you in a way, but they'll never tell you about it. It's people like me who have to find it and then tell people, hey, there's a place where you can find this stuff. But remember, there's a lot of propaganda in between. They have to throw so much propaganda in between this because they're giving you so much etymological information. All right, this is definitely going to have a part 2. I'll finish Raw, and then I'll set up a part 2. Probably for 2:30 or something. We'll see what happens. So Rhea meaning female companion. Rhea meaning attendant. So this is speaking of attendants like the FBI and CIA to the president. Only in Song of Solomon, my rule is usually that I read it if it's only that, but you know, it's not like I'm speaking to people who can't read. And I sorry if that doesn't sound nice. But Messiah spoke like this too. He loved, but his love actually made him sharp at times, where he's like, you have to do this. This is your responsibility as a human being. Every animals have responsibilities too. There's animals who literally for just hundreds of years, even thousands, cross the same river and do the same things, and they take care of the grass, and they fertilize things. We have free will, so we're able to say no to God's plan. But of course, that ends bad, doesn't it? Right, Reut, like reuters, meaning female companion or mate. Miera, meaning friend or companion. It's a mirage, isn't it? She's going to stab you in the back. The girl in the blue and white dress is going to stab you in the back. Okay. Rhea, it's not occur in the Bible, Aramaic, though. It means to take pleasure in or desire and yields nouns that mean thought, opinion, or disposition. So literally Epicureanism. And if you want to say Epicureanism isn't American, you're delusional. Some scholars propose that this root derives from the special blah blah blah. Meaning aim or purpose. So they have an aim or purpose. Forward, progress. Make America great again. Whatever. Reut meaning longing or striving. Again, reuters. Router. Rayon meaning longing. So they're longing for something. What are they longing for? Where there's an interesting Islamic tradition about the woman who tried to sleep with Joseph, that she lusted after him, but she couldn't have him. And she made a ruse and did all those things to him. But in Islamic tradition, they have her like turn into this like cast out, demonized lady who's just like still lusting after Joseph, but she's like all insane. And then supposedly like 30 years after it happens or something, Joseph sees her somewhere and she sees him, and it's like weird, and like he speaks with her and she like repents or something, and then he's able to bless her like from God in a way that transforms her back into her youthful self. It's really interesting because I don't know if it's actually happened or not. I just know it's telling you something. I see the utility in a story. You have to do that. You can't just go, it's Islam, or it's even in Hindu stuff. You're gonna find some kind of story in there that you can take the good out of anything. Nobody's your enemy. It's the spiritual things they let into you. There is no us versus them. There is no them. It's only us. It's only us. There's no me. There's no them. There's only us. Funny how people are starting to take on the name they them. That's weird. Let's see. They're our own enemy. Literally. That's wild. So freaking wild. Rua describes the production of a sudden burst of sound brought about by humans that sounds like the word for breath, wind, and spirit. That's very interesting. Think about, it makes me think of that poem by Edgar Allan Poe that reminds me of America, where it said, lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years, an angel throng, bewinged, bedight, in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theater to see a tale of hopes and fears or something like that, while the music plays fitfully the music of the spheres. And I always hear, do you see that? So Ruah could also sound a sudden burst of sound brought about by humans. I'm going to just be honest about this. Adolf Hitler did this with his voice. It's probably how Ramses, it's probably how Pharaoh spoke. He's like, you know what I mean? That's what Trump does. He flails a lot like a dragon. Like you'll hear his throat do that. Aggressive war cry, defensive alarm cry, cry out in distress, signal star marching, triumphant shout. So the military and is a big part of this. The military image and the power of voice, of sound, of pronunciation, of force. Rhea meaning a shouting. Why did the nations rage and the multitudes noisily assemble against Yahovah and against his Mashiach? Alarm war cry. Um, what's that? What's that alarm company where they have that big, giant, deep voice? You know, dark fella, and they in the ADT or something. ADT is watching. It's all about alarms and all that stuff. All this stuff has to do with the fact that if you worshipped their system enough or you had status or something like that, you were probably able to be protected by armored security if you can afford it. So, and these are all the names that have to do with it. That's important too. It's interesting. Um, Reuel was Moses's father-in-law. Ruth, you should know who Ruth is. I don't know if Tareah is related to Terah, but probably not, or else it'd be on this list. And the Terathites, um, it's probably Tyrus, which is fragmenter, raw, break apart. See how it envelops with Tyrus, which I believe are the Romans. It's just Tyrus and the Pharaoh meeting together. Tyrus could have been Atlantis because it literally says that Tyre sunk into the sea according to Ezekiel. And I had a video of that. I don't know if it's still up somewhere. But yeah, when Ezekiel talks about the fate of Tyre, it literally sinking in the ocean, all the coastlands shaking from it. And then there's this legend of Atlantis, and it's like a big giant. Ay. Okay, what is this? Rhea means okay. I'm done with the Rhea part. And yeah, it's 58 minutes, about an hour. So I think I'm gonna schedule one for 2:30. Have a little break, and come back and go over Mises, how it ties into America, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. There might be a third part. I don't know. I'm gonna go until this whole thing's done. I'm gonna go 1 hour at a time because I'm human and I have certain things I have to do every few hours. I have this physical body. I get tired, get hungry. All right. So let me. Oh, remember Elon? Remember Tether, Teth, Thought, Vortex? Interesting. Taurus field, Teth field? I don't know. Tesla field? Anyway. Oh, I wanted to show this logo. Let me show this logo. I want to show this at the beginning of the other one because I'm hoping this can unlock something in your subconscious, like the whole Hebrew alphabet. And Aleph means learning to produce thousands. So that would be funny if I can actually subliminally unlock it. I want to try everything. Like I really want anybody who sees this to be the best that they can possibly be. With this information, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm gonna start another one at 2:30 when Xi Jinping goes to the dentist. Anyway, I probably shouldn't say that's no harm, no foul. He looks like Winnie the Pooh. It's funny. It's literally like I'm not gonna hypnotize Winnie the Pooh. It's too much. Let's start this trippy music. Oh, wait a minute. If anybody recognizes this music, then hats off to you. And what I used this music in the past for, then you're an OG. And I really, really love you. I love everybody the same. Oh, jeez. I'm gonna stop talking.